I'm Jesse. This is my CFK presentation, and I'm going to start out with a very short video.
That's a great attitude. I gotta tell you, if I was giving this news, I don't know that I'd take it this well.
But you said he was all right.
Yes, he's lost his left hand, so he's going to be all right.
You son of a...
Okay.
Dang.
Physics games, I escaped on the computer.
I've seen the video already. Yeah.
Wow.
Don't worry, I've already seen it.
I've already seen it.
Okay. Okay, so this is my original very vague question, which is why are jokes funny? And I'm going to start out with the benign violation theory, which states that something is humorous when three conditions are satisfied. So one, when something threatens one's sense of how the world ought to be. Two, when the threat is proven to be benign. And then three, the observer sees both interpretations at the same time. So like if there's a pun or irony, you see both meanings of the word or event at the same time. Okay, so these humorous violations probably originally occurred as some kind of like apparent physical threats, but then they evolved as we evolved into being like violations of linguistic norms like puns, violations of like social norms like risque or inappropriate jokes, and violations of like personal dignity like slapstick. For example, when I woke up this morning, I reached over to turn on my lamp, and I knocked over a glass of water, and I spilled water everywhere, all over my bed, my floor. And then when I was running to school this morning, and I was running because I was late, of course, I realized my backpack was unzipped, and I swung it around to zip it up, and all of my stuff fell out onto the ground for a store. So that is an example of the benign violation theory if someone was supposed to be watching that, because they wouldn't be hurt by this, they'd just be watching me like fail. So there's that. There's also the incongruity theory of humor, which states that you laugh at jokes because there is an incongruency between what is expected to happen and what actually happens. So there's always a sudden shift in perspective. And so for this video, the video that we just watched, it started out making the audience think that the scene is going to be about a guy who was like unharmed and fine, but then the audience realizes the homonyms between all right, and you realize it's a joke and you laugh. And then of course these jokes, like once the logical order is learned, this new order, then it's not funny anymore, and you might not laugh at it again because you already know that pathway, that new order. But of course, I would always laugh at this. So, and then there's the computational neural explanation, which is I find very interesting. It states that our brains stay a few steps ahead of what we hear, so we predict possible outcomes with what we hear. And this theory states that when we hear a joke and none of these outcomes are correct, so like it over here instead of over here, and we hear this is a joke, all that neural energy from right here has to dissipate somehow into convulsions or laughter. So that's what that is. So yes, that's how that seems to work based on the computational neural explanation. So this leads me into my broader question, which is, what is the purpose of humor in society looking through the lens of human science? So I'm going to take a few comments, a few hypotheses. Taylor?
Well, like you were talking about with one of your first explanations, that Robert Schwab's book I was just reading, the one with all the jokes that I kept sharing with everyone, he actually explained that the laughing is actually, the smile started off as a grimace, a threat. So it's like the whole idea that it really didn't have a place in society at first, but it was an evolutionary thing. where your grimace to a physical threat turns into a smile because you're trying to release the tension inside your body. So that's how it is.
I feel like humor in society, like humor has brought society, like groups of like civilizations together, like certain societal things. I know like a lot of people, like with Charlie Chaplin, how he, you know, a lot of his movies created this whole new society off of his movies and through his humor and this like new understanding of current events.
Anything else? Before I get into my explanation, I just want to mention that all cultures have some kind of humor, and it's even suggested, like, scientists even think that, like, some animals have some sort of form of humor. All languages contain some kind of laughter. Like, babies laugh, even babies that are blind and deaf still laugh. So laughter and humor is a pretty, like, comedy even is a pretty universal thing. So one possible reason for the existence of humor is the relief theory, which suggests that humor is a mechanism that reduces psychological tension, and it serves to overcome fears, sociocultural inhibitions, and it reveals suppressed desires. So yeah, and earlier, before my presentation, I was laughing like a crazy person because I was nervous. So this is an example of the relief theory. Unrelated is the superiority theory, in which people laugh at others' misfortune. So an example of that would be if somebody had been watching me like drop everything that I owned this morning. That'd be an example of this because they would be watching it and laughing at me doing things. So yeah, there's that. And then there's the pattern recognition theory, which says that humor happens when the brain recognizes a pattern that's surprising, and this is rewarded with laughter. And really related is the detection of mistaken reasoning, which suggests that humor strengthens the brain's ability to find mistakes and detecting mistaken reasoning. And similar still is Bruson's theory, which supports the educational value of humor, which says that negative actions are punished with laughter and mockery. So, like, if an individual does something that is like socially unacceptable, like looked down upon by the rest of society, then the rest of society will like laugh at the individual and mock them. And so, all of these three things, sort of like all these theories, suggest that humans are rewarded for figuring things out and learning new things, and like recognizing new patterns and new knowledge. And they also punish when they make mistakes, which makes them less likely to make mistakes in the future. And all these things are as humans' evolutionary advantage. Yeah, that's my presentation actually.
How long was that, Michael?
7:50.